Hi, welcome back. So I wanted to tell you about a short conversation I had with a patient last week in case it is meaningful for you. So last week I was talking to a patient of mine who wants to start exercising more, and she told me that she really wants to go to the gym after work, but she doesn't go because she's lazy. And I was kind of shocked to hear that, and I just looked at her and I said, "Honey, you're not lazy, you're exhausted. You're a single mother, you have small children living at home. Um, you work full time at a very intense and emotionally draining job. You have other family issues on top of that. The fact that you don't feel like you have the energy to leave the house after you get home from work does not mean you're lazy. No one has the energy, no one who does what you do in a day wants to get up and leave the house after they get home from work. All right, so if we're going to get you to go to the gym, maybe it has to be not after work, maybe you have to go straight from work, maybe we have to plan your day differently, but expecting to suddenly have the energy and feel like you can just get up and leave the house after work, given the sorts of days that you have, is ridiculous. And the fact that you don't feel like you have that energy does not mean you're lazy. And I think that this is something that we all have a tendency to do, to develop a negative self-image based on what we see ourselves doing or not doing, or based on the comparison between what we would like to be doing and what we actually are doing, without taking into account the situation around us or the situation we find ourselves in. And this can be problematic for a couple reasons. First of all, if the action or problem or inability to do something becomes part of your self-identity, right? If you say, "I'm lazy," instead of "I'm tired," then it's much harder when the situation changes to change your behavior, right? If you successfully convince yourself that you're lazy, and then you switch to an easier job, and the kids go away for vacation and visit their grandparents, and you have plenty of time to catch up on sleep, then it's still much harder for you to convince yourself to get up and go to the gym if you have this self-image of being lazy. As opposed to, if you're tired, if all the things that are making you tired stop being an issue, it's much easier to then change your behavior if you see the problem, the reason that you couldn't change your behavior before, as situational. And this is something that they've done a lot of studies on, and it's 100% the case that if you see yourself as having a problem that's part of you, it's harder to change your behavior than if you see yourself as having problems that are part of the environment around you. And the other issue with this is that if we understand the actual root of the problem, right? If the problem is that we're tired and not that we're lazy, then we might be able to do something about it, right? If we're lazy, there's not much we can do about it. We can, I don't know, get therapy or listen to motivational speeches. But there isn't really, it's very hard to try and change something that you feel is part of you. On the other hand, if we look at this problem and say, okay, the problem here is that you're tired, then we have a solution. We make you less tired. And we can look into getting more help at home, changing your work hours, eating better so that you have more energy. There's all sorts of things that we can do that would not be relevant if the actual issue is just that you're lazy and can't be bothered. And so I just think that that's something that it's very important to remember. It's important for me to remember, I know, because I certainly have a tendency to do this, but I think that we really all need to remember to pay attention to what we say about ourselves and what we say to ourselves, because it really can have an effect on how hard or easy it is for us to change behaviors, which is, basically how we change the world, is we can change what we do. So I would actually be really interested to hear if you have any sort of self-identity problems that you've managed to let go of, like realizing that you're tired and not lazy, or